And we are live. Hey everyone, it is April 7th, 2026. And the S&P and NASDAQ futures were up. When I got up this morning, I got up about, I don't know, around 4 in the morning. And when I looked at the market, they were higher. And now they are trading down today. The S&Ps are down about 25 handles. The NASDAQ's down about 132 handles. And there's a lot of news out this morning about the war in Iran. Basically, there's news that Trump uh, the bombs have gone off this morning. There's reports that bombs have gone off in various places in Iran, and there is the tweet that Trump sent out, basically saying that he will end civilization as we know it in Iran if they do not open up the Strait of Hormuz by 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that is the situation that we have right now. And we have on that news, we have the S&P and the NASDAQ, the Russell, and the Dow. All four major indices are trading lower, not by a lot, but okay amount. They're kind of, as you see here on the screen, um, bouncing a little bit. Uh, And if we go to crude oil, that's the big thing. Crude oil was traded higher by it was over $116 a barrel earlier this morning. And it's still higher this morning by over $3. And when we got that move up in crude oil and that move in crude oil higher started around 5:30 in the morning. When that move higher started, that's when the selling in the stocks began. Because I was checking the market around 4:30, 4:30 in the morning, and at that point crude oil was falling, and we go back and we take a look at the stocks, and they were rallying. They were making a nice rally. Now they're falling, and crude oil is rallying. So as the stocks are bouncing here, we are let's take a look and see if crude oil has backed off a little bit, so that's why the stocks rallied. But one thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is that typical rules, typical methodologies, systems that you use for trading when you're in this type of environment where the market's moving from news event to news event. That when we're in this type of market, um, a lot of the rules that you are used to working in a more normal type of market, they're not going to work the same way when you have the fog of war essentially uh, going on. And when you have these unique events and you're in these unique times, your typical it's very often that your typical systems, your typical methodologies, they may not work in the same fashion as they do when you're in a more normal, lower volatility market environment. Other examples of this stuff happening was during COVID, especially the first couple months of COVID. You got moves and things happened that were not normal. This type of stuff happened also way back in I think late 2011 and early 2012 when you had the Greek debt crisis, or during Brexit, or when Trump was first elected president back in 2016, because that was a new thing. You know, it wasn't the normal thing. And when you have novel events happening in the world that are kind of black swan events to a certain degree, the typical rules, typical methodologies that you might have in a trading system don't always work. And, you know, as far as, you know, what we're going through right now, this correlation that we're seeing in the market to crude oil with what the stock indices are doing, what the SPOOs are doing, what the NAS are doing on a day-to-day basis is something that's kind of unique, and it's something that I mean, personally, I don't remember something like this happening. You know, waking up and looking to see what crude oil did to determine, you know, whether I'm bullish or bearish on the stock market, you know, or look and see like what crude oil is doing, not just did, but doing to determine whether I'm bullish or bearish on the stock market. That's very unique. And perfect example. You know, you're getting all these like weird missed signals. You know, on Nvidia, you know, it traded above 177 yesterday. It got to a point where you would expect it to, you know, it got above the 20-day. It was well above the 10-day moving average. It was even above the VWAP, and it's down today because of what the markets are doing, not necessarily because of what its chart looks like, but because of what the markets are doing. And all this type of stuff is very unique, because what we're used to what you're used to in a normal marketplace is not happening, because you have, you know, things going on around the world, and you know, what would normally be a very bullish signal for a stock like Nvidia trading right here at the 20-day, bouncing off the Bollinger Band. We go in today and the stock's down, you know, the pre-market. As we go into the opening bell, it's at 175, and it closed yesterday at 177.64. So as we go into we're about to go into the opening bell, and we are going to take a look at the trade tab and see what the let's take a look at the, oh gosh, the way that it takes time for data to come up on Thinkorswim. Oh, this pisses me off. This did not used to happen. Now it happens all the time with Charles Schwab crap. As we are trading 370,000 contracts as we go into the opening bell, and that's some decent size. So we're trading down with decent size, and we are now open for trading. And right off the opening bell, we are we are bouncing up a little bit on the opening bell, and let's take a look. We can see the S&Ps here bouncing here, and take a look at the NASDAQ on the opening bell here, and most stocks are in the red. This market, the platform's kind of slow. It's not really, it's connected. You can see it's connected, but it's not moving. So something's wrong. Now it's moving. Okay. Yeah, so that's Thinkorswim's problem, I think, because my internet connection, everything's fine. But looking around at the various stocks, individual stocks today, we got an initial pop on the Nasdaq, and now it's backing off. Same thing with the S&Ps. Broadcom is up. This sticks out to me. It's up by 10 handles today, and it's giving back a little bit of the gains after opening up on the day. Palantir's down, Robinhood's down, 68. Micron's down, Nvidia's down by $2, as I mentioned earlier. So Apple's down. So Apple had a huge update. Let's take a look at Apple. This is very interesting. It had a huge up move yesterday, as you can see here. Gapped up open, ran up to the upper edge of its expected move for the week, right around 262. And since then, it has completely backed off. And Apple was upgraded, from what I understand. So Apple backing off today, like today, that's not good for the stock market. And at the end of the day, we go back to crude oil. That is the driving force for the market. And above 115, anything above 115 is very, very bearish for stocks. And specifically, this is my opinion, I think, above certain prices, above 110, above 115 is more bearish, above 120 is even more bearish, and definitely anything above 100 is bearish. But the day-to-day directional trend of oil is having, and what's the directional trend, and what direction is it moving, how is it moving on a day-to-day basis, has a more impact on stocks on a day-to-day basis than anything. So you look and see like where it was, and oil was at 115. It was before then, it peaked out at 113, almost 114, and when it backed off and went to 111, whoa, okay, so you have a big back off from for being at 116 down to close to 111. That's very bullish for stocks. But then you go from being at 111 up to 115. You have a 4-point move like that very quickly in a couple hours. That's bearish for stocks. That sets the bearish tone for stocks. So watching the tape action of crude oil and seeing how crude oil moves on a day-to-day basis gives a fantastic indication of what stocks do on a day-to-day basis. So looking at the market like this, it's very difficult to have any conviction of what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis, or trying to figure out what's going to happen, out a couple days or a couple weeks in the future. Right now, with this market, we can only look at how this market is moving on a day-to-day basis. And Apple is a perfect example of that. So looking at my positions here right now, everything's down. I'm down money today, and my Rocket Labs call is opened and it's down over 40%. So I am going to bust out of this call. I held it for a few days. It did nothing. I am out of the contest with that. I am out of it. I am done. I cut my losses. I'm done. So I have showed you all trades that won, and I've showed you all trades that lost. I'm not down a huge amount today, but I'm down a decent amount today. And NVIDIA is coming back. Micron's coming back a bit. Bloom Energy's come back. Palantir's down, not coming back. Google is up and it's moving higher. So as you can see here on the screen, I am connected. My internet is working fine, but it seems to be like there's some connection issue with Thinkorswim. So it happens from time to time. It happens a lot more often with Charles Schwab at the helm. And with everything going on, we see the interest rates are up today. We can take a look at the 10-year is moving up at 4.35%. And the VIX is up today up by volatility is up by 5% today, and they're buying, they're buying volatility by buying call options in the VIX and probably buying put options in the SPX and the SPY as well, and the S&P 500, just to hedge everything. So no matter what's going on with everything that's happening, they are buying options, buying calls in the VIX, buying put options in the S&P. We can take a look at the skew. It really shows that. You look at the skew index, you can really see that at 147, it really shows that the put options are getting bid up and they're buying protection. So when you see a 147 skew, in addition to seeing the VIX go up like this above 25, it really shows that money managers and hedge fund managers are buying protection by buying VIX calls, buying out of the money S&P puts in the SPX and the SPY. And you can also see that. You can also see that in looking at the VIX futures. This is the tradable product for the S&P VIX. And we zoom in here. We zoom in here on the VIX volatility futures, and you can see them move up like this. This is very, very bearish for stocks. So you have volatility getting bid, you have the skew up, and you have stocks down, you have crude up like this, and you have the news of Trump saying that he's going to obliterate the civilization of Iran. For today, you don't want to be a bull, okay? You just gotta back off if you're a bull. You gotta be careful. Look at Apple. Now the stock was up to, look at this, man. The stock was at 262 yesterday, and at this time yesterday, Apple was at 262, and now it's at 151. So talk about a move in a stock, man. It is completely round tripped. On Thursday of last week, it was at 250, and it goes up to 262 yesterday in the morning, and now it's back to 250. Crazy. I'm still down on the day, but I'm not doing much. No, I don't really see anything that like jumps off the screen that's interesting to me. That looks interesting. A lot of red bars, and my system, a red bar, it shows red bars or green bars. Green bars are when you get price movement higher, and you get price movement higher with higher volume, which shows that there's buying. And it goes dark red if you have a drop in price and you have an increase in volume, which shows aggressive selling. And when you have these dark red bars like this, and I've seen a lot of dark red bars across all the other screens that I look at, I back off. I just back off. And, you know, with the news that's happening right now and the politics that are going on right now, I think you need to be very, very careful. And my thoughts are, I've thought a lot about this. My thoughts are that if you're Iran, the best leverage and maybe the only leverage that you have is keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed. So if even though Trump is threatening and wants to cut a deal with Iran, he's threatening bombing Iran. He wants to cut a deal with Iran, and he wants to end the war. Iran in the background is saying, "Listen, this is the only thing that we got. This is our Trump card, give or take. This is all we have. Okay, we can't. If we give up the Strait of Hormuz, we got nothing." And I don't know if they want to do that. So the way Iran can have a trajectory to winning the war, if you want to call it that, is dragging us into a forever war, essentially. We've seen it happen twice at least, and you can argue three times. Look at this! Wow, I just clicked the Nasdaq, as you can see here, and it now it shows up. So there's something going on. I may have to restart Thinkorswim, but you can see here the Nasdaq is bouncing around back and forth. It's looking like we're gonna get a sideways range type of day today, and most days are sideways range days. It's looking like that's gonna happen. So a down day that's a sideways range. I don't think we're going to get a downtrend day at this point. We'll see how the Nasdaq bounces off of these lower levels right around 24,150. But for now, that's what it's looking at. And we're kind of coming back down. This yellow line is where we started the week, as you can see. So we're getting closer to that. And earlier at the opening bell, Broadcom was up by 10 points, and it's still up. It's still up close to 4%, up by 12 handles at that point. So other than Broadcom up 12 points, nothing really sticks out to the upside. Callistica is up 8 points. That's very bullish, up by 2.8%. And the bond market's selling off pretty hard as interest rates are rising. So this Callistica's up 299, up by 7 handles, up 2.4%. Let's see what else we got here. And like I said, And let's take a look at Broadcom. This is a nice chart. Looks yeah. So Broadcom's chart looks decent. Callistica's chart looks decent. Other than that, but Callistica's backing off, and Micron, the stock that I've been following very closely recently, Micron, it is down by about 5 points on the day. And let's see what else we got going on here. The indices keep going down. And as you can see, the indices keep coming down. The NASDAQ keeps falling lower and lower. It's getting close to that point where we should get a bounce if we're in a sideways range day. But you look at all the stocks. Look at all these stocks that are red for the day. As you can see here. Ugh. Yeah, we only have a couple stocks that are up. This market is not looking strong at all, everyone. And as we speak, what sticks out in the corner of my eye is this pop in volatility. This is not good. This is the VIX futures contract. And this spike in the VIX futures contract is very, very bearish. So this pop in volatility is very bearish. And we look, after looking at the VIX futures, and we take a look at crude oil on top of it, and we have, look at this, wow. Looks like I may need to restart. I have to restart. Look at this. Crude oil is not loading. Now it is. Ugh. This is very, 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 very annoying. So I actually do want to restart Thinkorswim because it's so slow. So hold on right there. Hold on, everyone. This is technology. This is just the way it is. You know, what can you do? So I'm restarting Thinkorswim real quickly, as the charts are not uploading very quickly. Something's wrong. This may take a while, but as this goes on, this saga that we have to deal with Thinkorswim, just now it's saving the confirmation on another screen. And while it's doing that, you can take a look at the S&P, the NASDAQ, the crude oil, Russell. These time frames are, each bar is an hour on these charts here. Each bar is 2 hours on these charts here. So, this is annoying stuff. And This stuff did not used to happen, like as I said. But now that Chuck is in charge, it happens. So this may take a couple minutes as I have to restart Thinkorswim here. But the market's not doing much. I mean, as far as me, I like to trade the market from the long side. I'm a bull, and so on a day like today, where it's down and it's a range day, it's just not a lot of opportunities. And just watching Apple get killed, it's crazy. So I'm still down on the day by a decent amount. But the way the VIX is moving up and the way crude oil is moving up, I am not interested in anything today. And I think a big part of why the stock market is down, why stock indices are down, is that Apple's just getting clobbered. I mean, it's at 249 right now, 249, and it was at 262 yesterday. I mean, that is like absolutely nuts move. Just crazy, crazy move. And this is why I have multiple computers and multiple screens, because there's always tech issues. There's always stuff going on. You have to be prepared for this stuff. You have to have backup. And so my other computer is working just fine. So I'm able to watch the market on these other screens. But Thinkorswim is slow on this computer. I don't know if it's them, maybe me. I don't know. I hope it's not because I'm streaming on this computer. That's why it's slow. This is the computer that I'm streaming on. If that's the issue, then I hope that's not the issue. You know, I hook up a camera, I hook up a microphone to it. I'm streaming from this computer, and it just can't handle that and Thinkorswim. I don't know, because Thinkorswim takes up a lot of space, specifically lots of memory. I blow out a laptop every about 2 years, because 2 or 2.5 years, because I was using it to run Thinkorswim, and all of a sudden the fan couldn't keep up with the amount of memory issues, and with the amount of memory that I was using, and I blew out a laptop, and I was getting a laptop every 2.5 years. So I had to go to a point where I always had two laptops. So there's lots of when it comes to trading, there's lots of technical issues. You have to have lots of that's part of, you have to think of it like a business, and you have to have multiple computers, multiple screens, all that stuff, and that takes a while to set up and get working. And I'm restarting Thinkorswim right now. now I look at Thinkorswim on the other computer and it's a little slow. So this may be Chuck's problem. Because I'm back up and going. I'm back up and going on this computer. And we are back, and we take a look here at crude oil. It's looking to break all-time highs, and we go back and we take a look at the S&Ps, and it is continuing to sell off. Take a look at the NASDAQ, now down 200 handles, continuing to sell off. Now we're getting to that point where we're testing previous swing lows in the current sideways range that we've been in over the past two trading sessions. So if this is going to be a sideways range day, we should look for some type of bounce here. A lot of traders look at the use oscillators and indicators as we get down to these lower levels to look for divergences and so forth. But at this point right here, if you look at the current market conditions, this is a sideways range type of market. We're getting close to these key pivot points right here, here, and now here. We'll see if we get a bounce here. If this is a point where you can look to scalp the NASDAQ or the S&Ps. Let's go back and take a look at the S&Ps and see if we get a bounce here. But all that being said, we have the big major stocks. We have major stocks that are not doing well. Take a look at Apple getting pounded. Take a look at Tesla getting pounded. Nvidia's down today. Meta's down today. Everything's down. This Broadcom is the only major stock that is actually up today. And what's interesting is, yes, it's up, but it's fading from the highs. That's not a good sign. So all that combined together is not very bullish to the upside. So you see the best stock on the board backing off like this, no good. And also Bitcoin is down today, so just bearish tape action across the board, and we are breaking down. I said that we were at a point where we could get a bounce. I was looking for a bounce in the S&P and the NASDAQ, and we're testing these previous swing lows here. We are breaking down. We're breaking lows, and we're breaking lows because you're getting crude oil getting close to highs here, multi-day highs here, all-time highs, or not all-time highs, but multi-week, multi-year highs here, and go to the VIX futures making highs. This is an indication that we're going to break lows. The fact that the VIX is moving up like this, it shows it's an indication that we're not going to get a bounce here. And you see it in the other stocks, Apple at lows, Tesla's at lows, and the best stock on the board is backing off. This is not I was hoping that this would be a point to buy. Not going to happen now. Not going to happen on a day like today. This could turn into a trend day now. Now the idea of a sideways range day is now turning into a range type, turning into a trend down day. And we can make a leg lower if this keeps up. The one sector that is up, you see energy stocks, XLE is up. It's been getting bid up with crude oil. But even gold, look at gold, man. That's down today, and silver's down. So With all this red on the screen, you would expect, money to go into a safe haven like gold and silver and be up, but it's not. So, you know, I'm just texting a trading friend of mine here. I gotta text him. I gotta tell him something. And the fact that gold and silver are also down is very bearish to me because you would expect, these aren't safe haven assets like people think. What they do is they actually end up moving along with stocks. They move a lot more like Bitcoin than they do what you would expect gold and silver to move. Let's go back to the S&Ps, the SPOOs as they call them. When I say SPOOs, I'm referring to the S&Ps futures contracts, just so you know. I'm backing off. I know if people tune in, they want to see me trade, they want to see me make trades, but it's very difficult right now in this market environment. And other times, I'm like putting on 2 or 3 call options a day, and I'm doing 2 or 3 trades a day very easily. And in other markets, I'm backing off. It's like any other business. You have times when the business is hot, work, and things are going well, and times when you just kind of have to struggle through and grind it out. That's this type of market. Now, one thing that is interesting is that you could be selling option strangles. If you're selling premium, you can do very well in this market. And that strategy of selling options premium, whether it be selling strangles, selling puts, selling calls, covered calls, anything like that, those strategies, even overwrites, where you sell a covered call and then sell another call, in addition to that, all those premium selling option strategies are working very well in this type of environment, because at the end of the day, big picture, the stock market really hasn't done anything since October. So that's October, November, December, January, February, March, and now we're in April. We're in the 6th month now. Seventh month. Yeah. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So now we're in the 7th month. The 7th month now, where the market has not really done anything. In addition to not really doing anything, has rolled over a bit, which has allowed volatility to stay bid. So you're in this, what's interesting is you're in this sideways range, but you have volatility that is being bid. So option selling premium and option strategies, specifically option strategies that capture a range-bound market like straddles and strangles, they're doing very well in this type of environment. And I learned this morning, Amy Wu Silverman was on CNBC this morning, and she was talking about that with Joe Kernan, and she's spot on. She's a volatility expert. She's brilliant. And they were talking about this. She was mentioning how implied volatility is outpacing realized volatility by a decent amount. So that makes these premium selling strategies even more effective. And because of this fear that is around the market, with the war and everything that's going on, it's causing money managers to buy volatility for protection, as the market as a whole is been in a very quiet sideways range that allows premium selling strategies to be very profitable. So you have in one cohort traders that are range bound. the traders that follow Investors Business Daily, that look for breakouts and love momentum to the upside and say themselves they like low volatility environments, they're struggling a lot. But then you have other traders that follow like Tasty Trade that do different strategies like strangles, straddles, covered calls, buy rights, jade lizards, all these different premium selling strategies. I bet they're doing very, very, very well in this market environment. So I've seen market environments where volatility is at 10 or 11, and the market just keeps grinding higher and higher and higher, and the Investors Business Daily guys are basking in sunlight, and people that follow Tasty Trade are really hurting. It's completely the opposite here. People that are selling premium, selling options, they're doing well, and the momentum traders are doing bad. The IBD and momentum traders doing poorly. As we look at the S&P break down to the downside like this, we've broken down below all these swing lows over the past couple days, and this is some weak tape action. Let's go back to the NASDAQ here. It's moving down. Ooh. These charts look identical, but you can see the market indices. I'm switching back and forth between the NASDAQ and the S&P. See this big move down. Take a look at Bitcoin, crypto, Bitcoin. It's moving down, making new lows as well. And all that being said, look at crude oil, breakout to new highs. Close it in on 117. So we have crude oil up, making new highs for the past couple years. In addition to that, you go to volatility, and you look at these spike high in the VIX. That right there is what's driving the market. So the buy-in hedges, there's buying crude oil. It's tricky. And I'm down a lot today. I keep losing more and more money, but my premium selling strategies are actually helping me the most. It's keeping my head above water and keeping my account slightly above where I started the year. So it's been a hedge for me, is selling stuff like covered calls and so forth, and buy rights and overrights and so forth. And in this market environment, what you could do is sell premium and buy and use that to buy insurance, like VIX call spreads and so forth. But if you're not an experienced trader, I would not recommend that type of stuff. It's especially trading the VIX, that's very tricky. But money managers and sophisticated traders are doing that. So the VIX is still right at all-time highs. Let's go back to not all-time highs, but highs for the day. Highs for the day. Sorry. Let's take a look at the VIX index. You see highs for the day. You see that big rip higher? That's very, very bearish for stocks. If we go back and take a look at the S&P, now my Thinkorswim is acting normal. So I guess I fixed that technical problem. We see the S&Ps are bouncing a little bit here. Let's see if this sticks or not. It'll be interesting to see if this sticks. If this bounce sticks, or do we get another leg lower? It'll be interesting to see. Today, I haven't done any trades, but man, things are moving. And Nvidia is bouncing a little bit here. It's been going down, but it's getting a little bit here. But Apple is not getting a bid. Apple's not getting a bid. Interesting. See, it's not really getting a bounce. You know, you got a stock like Nvidia is getting a little bounce here, a little bounce. The Nasdaq's getting a bounce. The S&Ps are getting a bounce. Not Apple. Not Apple. Let's take a look at. Neither is Tesla. Tesla's not getting any bounce here. It's still near the lows. And let's look at the VIX futures to see if they're getting. VIX futures are pulling back a little bit, so that's good for the bulls. So. Callistica is now down. So this stock was up by over $8 earlier today, and now it's completely reversed and down. That sticks out to me. When a stock's having a big up move, but then reverses the way it has, like it completely changes, that sticks out to me, especially if it's a stock that I like a lot, you know. So Broadcom still sticks out as the best stock on the board. Best stock on the board. Up by about 10 handles, but it was up over 12 points on the day. So it's not you know, it's not good. Micron's now down 11. Was down about 4 points. Now it's down 11. So let's see. And so we're getting a little bounce here. The Nasdaq you see here, and the S&P we're getting a little bounce. Micron is bouncing back here. So now we're getting some stocks that are actually bouncing here. You got the S&Ps bouncing here. Let's take a look. We got the Nasdaq bouncing here, but we have some other stocks that are actually bouncing a little bit here. That's some good sign. First off, the one that sticks out is Corning. That's nice. Next is Nvidia. It's bouncing here. Micron, my new baby, Micron, it's bouncing here. Let's see what else. So we're getting some bounce in here. We're getting some bids coming in. Let's take a look at the VIX, the drivers of the market. It's backed off a little bit, but not backed off enough. I want to. There's no red bars on this chart, so that's still. I don't know if this bounce is going to stick unless you have a real decline in the VIX futures. And we go look at crude oil, still at all-time highs here. So this bounce in stocks is nice, but you're not getting the confirmation. But looking at crude oil, there's no red bars in crude oil. Okay, there's no red bars in the VIX. That means yes, the price is backed off a little bit, but it's still green. That shows that the prices come down, but there's not any big sellers. There's no increase in volume. And if you zoom in here, that's what I'm talking about. You zoom in here, you see how the price is backed off, but the volume here is not higher than these volume bars. So that's not increasing selling. That may just be profit taking to a certain extent. So you're not getting the confirmation in the VIX. You're not getting the confirmation in crude oil. So even though individual stocks like a Micron's bouncing here, still no green bars. So there's no confirmation. This just may be just a reactionary bounce here. And at this point, yes, you're getting a reaction in the market. We can see it here clearly by looking at the S&P. You're not getting a confirmation that this is going to stick. So watch this market just continue to bounce higher to completely prove me wrong and show how I have no idea what's going on in this market. So now the bounce is kind of fading a little bit here in the S&P here. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. I'm very curious to see how this happens. So, if it is a range day, we should get a little bounce here. It's due, but we're not getting the confirmation from the VIX and the crude oil. So this just may be a bounce to show that we are in a sideways range day, but it won't stick, and we won't get it won't continue. It won't have any follow through or continuation because of what we see in the NASDAQ and the VIX. So this is what makes this game so hard. And in addition to all that, we take a look at the bonds, and they're selling off as interest rates climb higher. So we look at the rates, we look at the bonds. That's not bullish either. So everything's stacked up against the bulls, except for a little bounce that we have today. We'll see if these get. I think this bounce could continue, but I don't think you get any follow through. And now we'll get some green bars here. Wow. So now the market's is completely proving me wrong here. I'm going to take a look at the VIX futures. Now you got some red bars in the VIX. Now you got some move down. So that's good. That's confirmation to the up move. And we look at Bitcoin. It's kind of bouncing. That's good. And we go to, let's take a look at the crude oil. It's kind of pulling back a little bit here. Interesting. So you get a nice bounce here in NVIDIA. It is bouncing, but no green bars. What does have a green bar and getting a buy signal is Micron. So the one stock that's getting a green bar is Micron. Also, Corning. But I much rather prefer day trading Micron over Corning just because the liquidity is there. Let's go back over to the NASDAQ and the S&P futures. See the NASDAQ, the S&P is back above where we started out the week. So this bounce is good. But the big question is, does it have follow through? And I'm not too sure about that. So it could keep going a little higher and then kind of fade and we go back down. You know, get back into the middle of the range over the past couple trading sessions, right around 66.23, 66.30, something like that, give or take, and then reverse down. Let's see here. And I'm not going to stream tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Hopefully I can stream on Thursday and Friday. I do like doing this though. I wanted to do this for a while, but what was difficult for me is to make it so that I could trade and watch the markets and do everything seamlessly, because I also have 5 people texting me, at least 5 people texting me on a daily basis, trader friends and so forth. So people like, I could stream from another device and be on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. Well, I got easily 30 texts, 40 texts, in the first half hour of the trading day. I can't do that. So that's the thing. That's why I was trying to do all this so it was seamless and easy. And this camera that I'm looking at, it blocks some of my screen. That annoys me. But I do like, I could talk about the market forever. Palantir's bouncing a little bit. It's getting some green bars. Getting some green bars. It's still down in the day. But as you see here, if I zoom in here, okay, so this is what other people don't have. This is what my system has that's unique. You see how the stock is going higher, but these bars are red because you're not getting an increase in momentum. You're not getting an increase in volume. now they're green. Now you're getting a buy signal. So this is a green bar. This is a bullish buy signal. So just because the price goes up doesn't mean that the bar is going to be green. It just means that the price is going up. And now it's turned red, so that buy signal is negated. So this buy signal in my chart system is negated. But it was showing a green bar. So we got a green bar in Palantir, that was good. But it didn't stick. And I think what's happening now, if you look at other stocks, Micron, it's gone red. So it's given up, it's starting to give up gains. And we look at the S&P 500, it's backing off just like I thought. So we got the bounce, but it's not like it's not a confirmation that the bounce can stick. We look at the VIX, it's getting a little bit of a bid. The VIX futures are getting a little bit of a bid here. So and it's green bars. Crude oil still up $4. So I don't think that. So I think we could get a bounce in stocks, and we got that, but it's not going to get any follow through. And that's what is looking like is happening now. So I'm going through my positions, and I'm looking at all the options that I've sold, specifically all the calls that I've sold against stocks I own, and looking to see if I can buy any of these back. But with this type of market, what I'm looking to do is buy back calls, but then immediately sell new calls. I'm not looking to buy back calls, wait a couple trading sessions, and sell new ones. I'm looking to buy calls and then immediately sell new calls at lower strikes in this type of market. And one stock that I'm looking to do that right now in is Apple. So right now I am going to buy back those calls and immediately roll them down, because the fact that we can't get any follow through on an up day like yesterday in Apple, when it was upgraded by Goldman Sachs, and it's now taking out the previous low levels in the stock, this is all very bearish to me. So everything looked great. Everything looked great in Apple, but yesterday, but it is so I'm also going to roll out. So I'm going to buy calls, close them, but I'm also going to roll them out to a further out expiration and sell at a lower strike price, I think. I'm actually going to raise the strike price is going to be higher because I'm rolling out calls. So I'm going to end up keeping the same strike, but roll out in time. So I'm buying back the 290 May calls, closing these calls for about a 65% profit, and selling the June 290 calls and collecting $1 credit in the process for Apple. and I'm doing that roll right now as the bounce that we just had over the past couple minutes is fading in the S&Ps, and I think that this is at a type of tape action is going to continue for the rest of the day. And I have no new interesting trades for the day as well. So,
Yours?
yeah. That's the patio furniture.
Oh. Alright, I'll handle it after work.
There's no rush. We can do it whenever.
Lunch break. Alright.
Thanks, Nebo. I don't think we have to put it together. I think it just.
Yeah, I'll just cut the box open and get it out of here.
And we are getting a little bounce here in the S&Ps. The bounce is gaining some steam, but let's see if it sticks. Like I said, I don't know if any bounce could have any follow through and really stick. It is a range type of day, so we are due to get bounces like this. However, with everything going on, with volatility going up, with crude oil staying up like this, unless there's some type of news event that causes a big move, I think any bounce can only go so far before it sells off. Unless there's some type of news event or something out there, some type of catalyst that allows the market to have big follow through to the upside. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer, a couple more minutes. See, we get that bounce, but now we're kind of giving some back. So it's good that we have green bars on the S&P and the Nasdaq as well. But as I speak, it's turning red. So on the Nasdaq. So I don't know if you can zoom in here and look. We're getting red bars. We're not getting continuation green bars. So it just seems that yes, we're getting this bounce, but we're not getting, you know, aggressive follow through to the upside. I see that the Joe Rogan Experience number 2479 popped up on my YouTube feed with Bob Lazar. If you want, I want to listen to that a lot. I don't listen to all the Joe Rogan stuff, but when a certain guests come on, I love listening to it. Bob Lazar is the UFO guy, so if you want some entertainment, he did an interview with Joe Rogan a long time ago. Looking up Joe Rogan, Bob Lazar. Way back, number 1315. It was 6 years ago. That is a fantastic interview. For anyone that's a conspiratorial person and wants to believe in aliens, you gotta watch that podcast. Joe Rogan Experience, number 1315, 6 years ago. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Basically, this is a guy that worked at S4, which is part of Area 50. It's not right next to Area 51, and he's like the whistleblower on the whole aliens Area 51 thing. And he had a story from like the late 80s of everything that happened, and he has the same story, 20 years later. And so that was the last interview that he did, and it's the best thing out there that proves that there's aliens. And just 3 days ago, they posted a new interview with him, number 2479. With the Joe Rogan Experience. So this is going to be interesting. I have not watched it, but it's on my list to watch. I was going to watch it last night, but I was watching the NASA live feed as the Artemis 2 Orion spacecraft went around the moon. They got pictures from the far side of the moon. No humans have ever seen, evidently no humans have seen the far side of the moon before. So that was pretty cool. And also, the other thing in the news is Michigan won the NCAA national championship. So a lot of stuff going on. Michigan wins the national championship. Bob Lazar is on Joe Rogan, evidently talking about aliens, and then humans go around the moon. So lots of cool stuff. Evidently 4.2 million views from this Bob Lazar video that just dropped a couple days ago. So that's pretty cool. I wish I could get 4.2 million views. I'm a long ways off from that. Back to the markets. We zoom in here, looking at. See that's a solid, a very dark red bar. You see that? That means that you're getting a drop in price, but you're getting selling momentum coming into the market. See, this red bar is a light red bar, so it's not heavy momentum. Now you're getting the heavy momentum in the volume increase, so that's very bearish, and that basically negates any of the green bars that we had before, and we're not able to get up above where we started the week. We go back and take a look at the S&Ps. We zoom in here. Now you have one little red bar here, but for the most part, the S&Ps are acting much more bullish than the Nasdaq. And for the most part, I don't have a high conviction that we're going to get any follow through to the upside in today's trading session. Well, and now the S&Ps are now have a red bar. We're kind of rolling. We're looking like we're going to roll over soon. And I am going to sign off for the day, and I'll see you guys all on Thursday. So take care, everyone, and talk to you all.